Julian had been left blind and crippled. For the first time I could actually get close to him. I kissed him, ran my hands over him. He flushed scarlet and called me a pervert. Later, whimpering, he asked when I was finally going to acknowledge him. Get out. Julian smashed everything within reach. Laptop, water glass, books crashed across the floor. In his frenzy, he toppled clear off the wheelchair. Instinct threw me forward as a human cushion. He landed on me, blank for a heartbeat. Then his face twisted, palms slamming the floor as he fought to push himself up. His numb legs pinned my knees. No matter how he strained, he couldn't shift them. Again and again he tried, sweat dripping onto my cheek. I lay still and watched him the whole time. At last he stopped. The emptiness in his eyes had turned bottomless. I slid my arms around him and hauled him up like a rag doll. He sat wooden, lifeless. Time to eat. I lifted the bowl of congee. Steam spiraled in front of him. No flicker on that frozen face. Not a word. I wasn't annoyed. I cupped the back of his head, took a mouthful of congee, pressed my lips to his, and forced the spoonful in. Instantly he reacted, hands flying to shove me away, but he couldn't see and planted them exactly where he shouldn't. He jerked back like he'd been electrocuted and reluctantly swallowed. Why you, pervert. Julian's whole face burned. He couldn't muster a real insult. His reaction delighted me. Feed yourself, or I keep doing it my way. I wiped a stray grain from the corner of his mouth, lingering so my knuckles grazed his lip. Flustered, he turned away. Where's the bowl? Mission accomplished. I placed it in his hands and watched him take careful spoonfuls while I slipped shredded meat and veg between them. What are they paying you? He set the bowl down, sightless gaze fixed on the window. You. I almost blurted. That answer would never let him accept my care in peace. Lots of money. Of course. I tucked the blanket tighter over his knees. Worth marrying a wreck like me for cash? You're not a wreck. Then pick the stuff up. You threw it. You tidy. Telling a blind, paralyzed man to clean is absurd. He knew it. His brows knit as he stared in my direction. Those lightless eyes couldn't show emotion, yet I caught the shock behind them. But Julian could do it. He'd taught me how. I'd laid the room out so he could feel his way, memory guiding each book and cable back into place. What are you doing? He snatched at my wrist on his shirt front, furious. I stayed calm, helping you bathe. Get lost. I said scram. He was by the window. Had it been open I swear he'd have thrown himself out. This was the golden heir, the prodigy painter, the youngest titan the Caldwell family ever boasted, yet to me he was just the man who used to spend weekends teaching kids to paint at starlight. If you feel shortchanged, you can wash me afterward. Ignoring his protests, I stripped him, hoisted him, lowered him into the tub. I don't need you. Let go. Pervert. He was livid, shielding himself, neck and ears crimson, slinking under the bubbles until only his blushing face showed, making me look exactly like the molester he accused me of being. Heaven knows I had indecent thoughts, but I'd never force him. Beautiful body, even traced with surgical scars and pale skid marks of the crash. A warm droplet hit the corner of his eye. He froze, tipped toward the tiny splash of tear he couldn't see. I realized I was crying. What are you doing? Blind. His voice still carried worry. The view's so hot my nose is bleeding. I flicked the tear away, forcing flippancy. He hated his own body and hid it in furious modesty. My joke left him adrift. He ducked underwater altogether. Bashful dolphin. Planning to breathe through a straw, I tapped the red tip of an ear still above the surface. He shivered, sinking lower. Fine. I'm coming in with you. I rustled fabric loud enough for him to hear me undress. He shot up spluttering. Don't. I grinned. Deal. Behave while I guide you. Soon you'll manage alone. Face crimson. He gave a tiny nod. When he'd finished scrubbing I steadied him at the grab rail and let him find his clothes. Then wheeled him back. This isn't my room. He finally protested when I rolled him into mine, the one I doused in perfume for the occasion. Nope. You trashed yours and refused to clean, so I'm graciously sharing. Recovery starts with proving he's not useless. He muttered, take me back. Sure. I wheeled him in. Bent to his ear, if I finish my shower and you haven't straightened up, you sleep with me. He cleared his throat and looked away. Memory, imagination, razor-sharp senses, books now lined up perfectly. Only the braille labels and upside-down laptop betrayed his blindness. Hubby, excellent job. I pinched his cheek. Delighted. He swatted my hand. Cheek speckled pink. Stop that name. He looked so cute offended, but I didn't want to push. Okay, no more. He stayed quiet while I lifted him onto the bed, folded his pant legs and began kneading life into his limbs. Leave. Don't waste your hours on me. I can't feel it anyway. He was driving me away again. Can't. If I walk now, I don't get paid. I kept massaging massaging, lying glibly. How much do you need? More the merrier. He tilted his head, thinking, after you've got the money, what then? Eat, drink, have fun. A ghost smile tugged at his mouth. He didn't notice. That's simple. I have enough to bankroll your fun. I'll give it to you. There's one condition. Forget it, hovered on my tongue. But I asked, what? Sell every painting and give the proceeds to welfare homes and poor mountain villages. And, if you're willing, teach the kids at Starlight to draw. Starlight was the orphanage he haunted, the place that raised me. Deal. How rich are you? Plenty. Should keep you supplied. By the way, what's your name? Only now, after a whole day, did it occur to him to ask. Jasmine, like the river, and the word yearning. I fell silent for a second, then decided I still wanted him to know. The person sitting beside him is Jasmine, the Jasmine who will love him no matter what he becomes. He whipped his head toward me and looked my way. You're called Jasmine, too. Do you know another one? His reaction was the exact opposite of what I'd imagined. Seeing him so startled, I blurted the question out, almost possessed. She's different from you, not greedy, and not lustful. Julian bit the words out, then his expression softened. She's a tough girl, warm and sunny, haven't been in touch for ages. The sentence made my heart clench. It started racing. I asked carefully, do you want to see her again? He shook his head and changed the subject. If you feel like traveling, start across, snow up north, water down south, taste the food everywhere. If you like sweet, head to Delta, for spicy, southwest. Oh, and I never got to Iceland to see the aurora. Go check it out for me. Sure enough, he refuses to see me. This Julian resists every person who once knew him, so I won't tell him. He kept murmuring about places he'd visited while I massaged his legs and watched him drift off. Then come with me, okay? I whispered, brushing a kiss across his lips. He mumbled drowsily in agreement. Before I turned 16, I was a healthy kid who lived for surprise visits from the Caldwell family tutor who taught us kids to paint. He'd hold a brush, show me how to lay color, and grin that my work had a soul. An accident left me briefly blind. I was lost, shattered, hiding from the world. Julian taught me to build 3D space in my mind with a paintbrush, urged me to learn Braille, and helped me survive as a blind girl. Later, he paid for my surgery. When I opened my eyes again, he was the first thing I saw. Sunlight through the window dotted him with flecks of gold. He waved. Who am I? Julian. I answered in a daze. He laughed, flicked my forehead. It's Caldwell. Eyes work. Brain broken? The frantic heartbeat that sped up then is still racing. 5 years later. After that, Julian bankrolled my college. I watched him speak as the student rep, sweat on the track, and hold Sophie's hand with a shy smile. The guy stealth skating on Instagram. The wunderkind on TV. The gentle volunteer at Starlight. Always him. I faded out of his life, became a workhorse, and returned every dollar he'd given me, erasing him from my world piece by piece. Then a car crash slammed me back to his side. Caldwell wanted someone to care for Julian and simply married him off. Plenty of women chased the Caldwell fortune, but I was the only one who convinced Caldwell with sincerity and stayed. Jasmine. Julian's shocked, angry voice rang in my ear. I was still half asleep against his chest and, thinking it was another nightmare, stroked his chest to soothe him. I'm here. It's okay. He knocked my hand away. His palm burned. Jasmine. Louder this time. More furious. The shout snapped me awake. I pushed up and out of his arms. How did you know it was me? Who else would take advantage of me? A faint blush colored his face as he clutched his loosened shirt like I was some hooligan. I looked away. Guilty. You wouldn't let me leave last night. I wasn't the one groping. He frowned. No way. Then, remembering, he fell silent. He dreamed of the crash again, the truck barreling head-on, metal ripping apart, blood everywhere, terror swallowing him, body convulsing, no escape. In the dark, someone pulled him into a warm, gardenia-scented embrace, soft and steady. He latched onto the only light, inching closer, gripping, wrapping arms tight. It was Jasmine. Time to brush. Julian. Seeing him lost in thought, I lifted him into his wheelchair. He snapped awake, ears red, face turned. When are you leaving? I can wire the money today. I'm not leaving. Crisp answer. His brows drew together. I'm seriously loaded. As if I might doubt him. He stressed. I'm not lying. Not enough. I brushed him off and wheeled him to the sink. Squeezed toothpaste. And handed over the brush. He wouldn't take it. Slipping back into that lifeless shell. There's no point wasting time on me. I'm wasting time on money. Who hates cash? Hurry. I'm starving. I pressed the toothbrush into his hand and, since he can't see, brazenly studied him. Healthy. He'd Might have sun-kissed skin. Illness and no daylight have left him pale. Phoenix eyes tilting up. A tiny mole beneath one. When neutral. Distant. When he smiles. All boyish sunshine. Now. Lips tight in mute protest. What are you doing? Probably unnerved by my silence. He spoke. I took my own brush. Brushing. Same as you. Julian could just throw me out, but good manners won't let him, so I exploit the gap. He skips meals. I kiss him. He refuses baths. I grope him. He locks his door. I fake a window entrance, rattling it noisily. Panic pales him. He fumbles the door open. Have you lost your mind? He's livid. I pat his messy hair into place. Grinning. Can't shake me. His fingers curl. He hangs his head to hide racing pulses. Then sighs. Almost inaudible. I seize the inch and take a mile, wheeling him outside. Let's go fish. Julian's in a dark pit. Stewing indoors will only deepen it. Low moods heal in open air. Even sunshine can help. Blind man fishing, novelty act. He laughs at himself. Not at all. Fish bite when they will. You just listen for them. I bait the hook. Press the rod into his grip. Autumn breeze schemes the pond and cools our faces. Perfect weather. He looks listless. I secretly slip a fish into the pond. He never expects a bite so soon. Suddenly he grips the rod and yells my name. The joy flooding his face is the boy I remember. I shout back, braise or steam. He answers instantly, braise. I tease, but I want steam. He pouts. My catch. My rules. We bicker, laugh, and end up cooking it his favorite way. Just as Julian is turning the corner, we're summoned back to the Caldwell estate for dinner. The family is huge. Julian's grandfather Theodore had 2 sons. Julian's father, the elder, controlled the lifelines of the business. After his death, Julian took over. Now that Julian's had his accident, Victor wants the old man to hand the empire over to him. For the first time ever, money actually matters to Julian, the guy who never batted an eye at it. I'm standing at his side and he's squeezing my hand so hard it hurts. Every word out of his mouth flies right over my head. Something about Victor being useless. I think, Uncle, Xinghua belongs to the Caldwells, but it's my Caldwell. Even blind and broken, with my wife here I can still run this company just fine. The second I hear him say wife so seriously, heat rushes to my cheeks. His face still wears that gentle smile, yet his voice is pure ice. I hear West has just been rezoned a national reserve. How exactly are you planning to recoup your investment, Uncle? Victor's face goes the color of old paste. He slams the table and starts to snarl. I step sideways, shielding Julian. Enough. The businesses have already been split. Each of you sinks or swims on your own. Save the tantrums for home. Theodore taps his cane once, ending the fight. Yes, grandfather. Julian dips his chin, tugging me close. Don't be scared. Your only job is to eat, drink, and be merry. I lace our fingers. Then try this. It's delicious. I spear one of his favorite dishes and lift it to his lips. He gives that doting chuckle and takes the bite. The whole table feels like a funeral. Theodore says nothing, eyes lowered, studying me. Victor is so livid his face is eggplant. He grinds his teeth at us. Caldwell laughs too loudly. Smile flat. Newlyweds, sticky sweet. Right. Forgive them. Only Julian and I act like we're in our own kitchen. Tasting this, nibbling that. Julian is summoned away by Theodore. With nothing to do I drift outside for air. Relax. Julian's a write-off for life. That gutter orphan can't save him. Sooner or later it's all mine. Don't worry. Every doctor in that hospital is on my payroll. He'll never know the files are fake. Victor's voice floats from the shadows. My heart crumples and I shrink behind a hedge. Julian's medical records are forged. He can actually get better. I yank out my phone to record the proof, but when I pivot quietly Victor's gone. Niece-in-law. What are you doing here? Victor's voice drops from above. The crooked grin he flashes makes me shake. You uncle. Before a single thought forms, his hand clamps over my mouth and he drags me into the back seat. Uncle, what is this? I struggle to stay calm, fingers hunting for the door lock. He looks at me like I'm trash. Spare me the act. It's always about cash. The kid seems crazy about you. How about we make a deal? My nails split my palms as I force a sneer. Please. Love's worthless. Only dollars are real. He snorts. Amused. You really are a piece of work. Every asset he still owns is coming to me. Play nice and you'll both stay fed and clothed. Try anything cute and ask yourself if your life's worth it. Remember, the only reason a wreck like him married you is because he's blind and lame. Victor finishes, savoring the color draining from my face. Disgusting. But he's right. The Julian who's whole would never marry Jasmine. Blood beads where my nails bite skin. Yet I feel nothing. Fine. Deal. The words leave my mouth flat. Hollow. Truth is, I hope he stays handicapped forever. I don't care if he never sees, never walks, because then he'll always be mine. Jasmine, what are you doing? Caught staring at Julian again. Looking at you. What's so interesting about me? He whips his head away, huffy and shy. That's the third time today you've gone quiet on me. Ever since we left the manor you've been weird. Are you regretting this? His complaint shrinks into a timid whisper. Julian, let's go on a date. What? He swivels toward me, stunned, trying to follow my leap in logic. I ask again, softer. Can we? Finally he nods. I whoop, smacking a loud kiss on his cheek. This time he doesn't duck. The corner of his mouth lifts. I take him to Starlight. I guide his hand to draw. I wrap his fingers over the braille slate. He tilts his head toward me. Jasmine and Julian. Learn my name, Jasmine. Already locked in. Jasmine and Julian. Together always. With that I dive into his arms. I hug him so tightly my ribs complain. Instead of squirming away, he slips a hand to my waist and hugs back. Julian, I love you, like, crazy amounts. He blinks, then melts into a soft, fond smile. Thought it was just for the money. Sure. You're Xinhua. Loaded. I wriggle free, pretending I don't care. He yanks me back, palms my face, tracing brows, eyes, nose, cheeks, featherlight, worshipful. Jasmine, I love you too. Tears shimmer. I crush my mouth to his, tasting his lips. A drop lands on his hand. He reaches to brush my cheek. I trap his fingers, weaving them with mine. Scene so hot, I'm getting a nosebleed. I swipe the tears, sniff, and crack the usual dirty joke. He laughs, groping for my face to pinch it. So I'm irresistible now? Totally. I've seen him at the summit. I know how far he's fallen. I also know how desperately he wants to stand again. No matter whether Julian will still want me when he's whole. I'm dragging the truth to Theodore. I go behind Julian's back to the Caldwell mansion and, in front of everyone, tear Victor's lie to shreds. Theodore's rage rattles the chandeliers. Victor is caned 20 strokes on the spot. The punishment's a slap on the wrist. But scandal could crater every Caldwell brand just as Xinhua is pivoting to shield Julian. Caldwell lets it die there. Victor, of course, recorded our little chat. Whatever my motives. Those words whipped Theodore into a fury. He decides to boot me out of the family. Never figured you'd bite so hard. Trying to bury me and hijack the Caldwells. Victor's face is sheet white, fresh from the cane. Yet he still spits venom. Must really hate me. Yeah. Pity we're not chatting at the police station, only stayed quiet for Julian's sake. I glare, itching to plant my fist in his smug mouth. That trashcan stare he gives is suffocating. Funny, since he's the human garbage. Humph. This estate is stamped Caldwell, he sneers, sliding into the car. He won't let this go. I know it's time to leave, yet I can't walk away from Julian. That same day Julian is moved to a cutting-edge clinic. I hide in corners just to watch him. When pain bleaches his face and he murmurs, Jasmine, in his sleep, I rush in and hold him. I watch him attack physical therapy, swallow pills on the dot. I watched the light come back into his eyes. Watched him see again. I watched him slowly stop needing any cane or rails to walk. I watched him write in his journal every night after dinner. I watched him stare out the window, lost in thought. I watched him slowly stop saying, Jasmine. I watched him walk across the lawn with Sophie. Sophie, the girl famous across campus. The girl he was once engaged to. She was beautiful, and she was the only one, in my mind, who truly deserved Julian. My heart twisted. They looked blinding together. Plain, ordinary Jasmine could never match a man like Julian. I watched Sophie say goodbye to Julian, then followed him to the doorway of his hospital room. I finally made myself say goodbye. You still plan to ignore me? I jerked my head up and walked straight into a warm chest. I'm out walking with another girl and you're not even jealous? I've been forcing myself not to say your name and you're not mad? I've been good, taking my meds, doing my exercises, and you won't praise me? I've been waiting for you to look at me. He grumbled it all while pulling me into his arms, cataloging every grievance like a hurt child. Tears welled, my nose stung, and I finally burst out crying. Even like this you think it's sexy. Why is your nose bleeding again? He stroked my back. One slow pass after another. Voice soft, like I was a child. Tears kept falling. I sobbed so hard my whimpers wouldn't stop. Ready to talk to me now? He dropped a kiss on top of my head. I nodded furiously, face flushed from crying. When did you know I was here? I hiccuped between breaths. I always knew. He tilted his head proudly, then touched his forehead to mine. Little fraud. You're the only Jasmine there is. Nose to nose. He smiled that maddening smile. The scent of gardenias never left. It was his Jasmine. In the beginning Victor really had fooled Julian. The Caldwell family's private hospital had long since been bought off by Victor. He sank, gave up. He couldn't stand living like a parasite, glued to other people's health. help. Then Jasmine showed up, impossible to chase away, massaging his legs every day, dragging him to physical therapy. His legs actually began to feel again. He started investigating, following the trail straight to Victor. He should have exposed everything and thrown Victor in jail. He should have rebuilt his own health. But Jasmine kept hesitating. She kept saying she stayed for money. But a healthy Julian would have far more money. So why had she kept her distance back then? He never forgot the smiling girl from Starlight until he heard that recording. Only then did he understand her fears. Damn Victor, he was the one who didn't deserve Jasmine. But Jasmine had already hidden herself away. His only path was to finish treatment, rebuild his body, crush Victor, then go find her. On nights when pain kept him awake, the scent of gardenias folded around him. At first, he thought he was dreaming. Later, he smelled it every time. He knew she'd come. She didn't want to show herself. So he waited. The moment she stepped close, he would lock her in his arms and never let go. Julian checked out. The Caldwells threw a gala that same week. Everyone who mattered showed up. After more than a year out of the spotlight, Julian drew every sycophant in the city. Still, he kept his arm hooked through mine. Every new face heard the same line, "This is my wife, Jasmine. Big events make me nervous." I kept a polite smile plastered on and nodded along. At last I spotted a quiet corner and ducked into it. I heard that Jasmine latched onto the boss while he was sick and wouldn't let go. Yeah, look at her. Clearly never been anywhere classy. The boss is only repaying a debt. 3 overdressed girls formed a little circle, gossiping loud enough for me to hear. I lifted the nearest glass, sipped for courage, then strolled over and accidentally splashed the wine. They sprang up shrieking, "What do you think you're doing?" I hooked a finger through the glass stem. Sorry, some loud mutt startled me and the wine slipped. The girl in baby pink glared, then muttered under her breath, afraid of provoking Julian. Don't think sleeping with the boss lets you run things. If he hadn't been sick you'd never have touched him. Sophie is the one he was meant to marry. I shrugged. Of course sleeping with the boss lets me run things. Tonight I'll whisper in the dark. By tomorrow your daddies might be bankrupt. I slipped into full soap villain mode. Voice syrupy and sharp. Sweetheart, who exactly are you planning to bankrupt? Julian stepped up behind me, hand settling at my waist. The girls' faces went paper white. I only wanted to scare them a little, never meant real harm. Them? Julian asked, eyes curving politely. They couldn't force a word out. I gave Julian a look that said it enough, but he was already leading me away. Jasmine is the one I chased and begged to marry, he told the room. Spread that around all you like. My cheeks flamed crimson as he guided me into Theodore's study. Theodore glowered. My grandson's bride will be Sophie. No one else. He snatched the nearest cup and hurled it at Julian. I jumped to shield him, but he spun us so the porcelain struck his shoulder, shattering on the floor. Julian, I gasped. He gave me a calm smile. I'm fine. Then, voice mild, he turned back. Grandfather, adore Sophie all you like. Go ask if she'll have me. My wife is Jasmine. I brought her to meet the family properly, not to ask permission. Theodore sputtered, mustache quivering. You, ungrateful child, throwing your uncle away for her. Grandfather, you know what your son did to me, and what he meant to do to Jasmine. I showed mercy by letting the courts handle him. The icy edge in Julian's tone finally silenced the old man. Theodore's remaining years depend on Julian. He can't afford an open rupture. You put Victor in prison? I asked, blinking. Julian slipped his jacket around my shoulders. He'll never get close enough to hurt you again. I met his blazing gaze, then shyly looked away. He cupped the back of my head. Jasmine, I want to kiss you. His mouth found mine before I could answer. Julian and I got married. We took a honeymoon trip, standing on a glacier beneath the aurora. I leaned back against his chest. You heard what I said that night? Every word. From now on we travel everywhere, together.